What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Think Different Theory. My name is Josh Forti, and this is an episode that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've just not been able to figure out the analogies to explain it, because I want to talk to you today about the mind and how the mind works and why mindset is important and why mindset is actually the key to success. And I think a lot of people, they hear these things or they use sexy topics or catchphrases like this. Yes, mindset is the key to success. But if you don't understand why that is, and if you don't really truly understand how the mind works, number one, it's going to be a hard time just understanding that. And number two, you're going to have a hard time getting anywhere because you're not actually clear on how it works and what's actually going on and how certain things are affecting things. And so as I've sat down and thought about this episode over and over, I'm like, how am I going to do this? I'm sure I'm going to do variations of this episode for the rest of my life. But I want to start by telling you an analogy about the mind that I really hope brings some context around the power of the mind. And I don't know if this is going to be perfect. I'm honestly kind of testing here to see if you guys understand this, if this makes sense, if this resonates. And so I would appreciate any feedback that you guys have, either in the comment section or in the review section or in the Instagram DMs on at Josh40 on Instagram, wherever. Email me. But basically, what I've noticed over the past course, and let me bring some context around how this episode actually came about, okay? Because over the course of the past couple months, guys, you know that I have been working with a mindset coach. Her name is Katie Richardson, and I, have paid a significant amount of money to work with her. Her cost per year is $60,000, so $5,000 a month, and that's what I pay. And when I first hired her, I had a lot of people criticize or question my hiring of her. It was like, why would you hire a coach for that much money? Why would you not go and scale a successful business to multi-millions of dollars and things like that? Like, why hire a coach for that much money? It seems like a waste when you could put your money elsewhere. And my response to that was, I'm not just hiring a business coach, I'm hiring a mindset coach. And that's what Katie does. She literally goes and works with my mind. We do talk about business, but we talk about business from the perspective of the way that I'm approaching it from my mental game. And Katie comes in and takes my false beliefs, smashes them to a million pieces, completely reframes how I look at situations. And the byproduct of that has been massive amounts of success. It really, truly has. And I firmly believe that mindset is the key to all of success. I believe that so strongly, which is why I invested this kind of money into it. I mean, I'm paying her more in a year than the average American person makes in salary for the year. Okay. So think about that. That's a massive amount. So why? Well, because I understand how the mind works. Now, as I have gone further down the rabbit hole of the mind and the mental game, it is shocking to me how much it's like a cheat code. And I don't know if it's just a cheat code or if nobody else knows how to just play the game of life normally. Either way, when you master your mind, the way that you live life is so radically different than how everybody else chooses to live their life. It's shocking. And I'm going to try to explain the importance and the power of this with an analogy today, because there has been a tremendous amount of chaos that has gone on in the world, whether it be pre-coronavirus, post-coronavirus, middle of coronavirus. It doesn't matter whether it's in our political system or our business system or our economics or in our media or in Hollywood or whatnot. The world is just this crazy place. And there's so many people hurting and in pain and confusion and depression and stress. And it's busy and it's nonstop. And it's like impossible to get away from, it seems. It's so hard to find clarity. It's so hard to figure out what these next steps are. And I really struggled with this, okay? And to give you just a little bit more backstory, and this is a really important to this, so please listen to this, right? Back up my life a couple years ago, and I was in the pit of all of this. I was a 24-year-old kid who was making a killing, right? I was making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in a month at a time, all right? And I would go and I would fly first class, and I was flying to Vegas and Miami and to these different places and going, and like I had this nonstop crazy life, and it was fueled by this such amount of chaos in my mind and this insecurities and this need of more, and I need approval from this person and this person. I got to do this, and it was such an unpowerful position, and it's ultimately what led to my crash. And it was not a healthy lifestyle, but it's the lifestyle that so many people sell. And I don't just mean in business. I mean in all of life. I mean in Hollywood. I mean on YouTube. I mean in business. I mean everywhere, okay? It's this more thing, and it jacks up your mind so badly. And I want to try to explain why and how that's working, and how if you understand how your mind works, that if you change what goes in, if you change the way you approach situations, everything will change for you. And as I've learned this, and I've gone through a tremendous amount of change and growth in the past year to year and a half of my life, really 2 years, okay? 2 years ago, I had my big crash where I hit rock bottom, from top to rock bottom. I dove into personal development like heavily. I realized the importance of mindset. I realized the power and importance of having an audience to share your message with. I realized the importance of audience building. I thought, you know what? Like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, I thought I was going to grow this multi-million-dollar business from there. I went, my brother dies in a helicopter crash, a freak accident, totally wrecks up my life. So many things happened in my personal life that I can't get into, for other reasons, with my family, with me, that I had to go through mentally. I mean, I was just brutal last year. And so at the beginning of this year, end of last year, I went on this world trip to kind of get perspective, to travel. My brother liked traveling, and I wanted to just get new areas of growth. And so I sit down at the beginning of this year and I go, I have an understanding. I know enough about the mind from reading Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza and Psycho-Cybernetics and books like that. I know that the key is in the mind. I get it. But I want to dive into that even further. I need somebody to come into my life that will push me, that will make me grow. And it has paid off tremendously. It is one of the biggest bets that I've ever placed on myself. And so far, 3 months in, I'm like, this is so incredible and has yielded so much results that I feel more strongly about this almost than anything else that I teach. Now, don't get me wrong. I can't just teach mindset. I need a vehicle, right? I need the audience. I need the business. And I have the podcast, and we're doing those things. But the key to all of this is your mind. And so I want to kind of dive into this story here. I want to dive into this analogy and have you walk through this with me here. Now, this is the first time I've ever told this, the first time I've ever presented it in this way. So bear with me here as we go through this, and I'd love to know your thoughts when we're done here, because I think this is, incredibly powerful. I want you to envision right now and pretend that you are in a building. All right. Now, this building it's a very, very large building. This is your dream building. Okay. And inside this building, it's like your office space, and it's you get to do whatever you want with this building. Huge building, right? Has tons of floors and offices and basketball courts if you want it. You have an unlimited budget. You can do whatever you want, and you can make this thing just awesome. You're building your life inside of this building. And from this building, this is your practice center, right? So if you're going to, want to get good at basketball, if basketball is your hobby, you're going to have a basketball court in there, and you can play basketball so that you can leave this building and you can go out and school all your friends in basketball, right? You can build you can set up the business that you want in here, and you can go through and awesome, have machines and computers and whatever you want, right? Like, this is your happy place per se, all right? And inside this building, you have 9 little robots or minions or servants, right? That are completely under your control, all right? Whatever you program, and let's assume here for a second that you know how to program them, like it's just, you just tell them what to do essentially, or you teach them and you know how to program them, okay? You can program them to do whatever it is that you want them to do, but then whatever you program them to go and do, that's what they're going to do until you program them to do something else. So you can say, hey, I want you to just paint things, right? And make things awesome. And you're going to go program that. But if you don't tell it to only paint certain things, that it's going to just paint everything, right? Or if you don't tell it to do these. So these 9 robots per se are, or these, I'm going to call them, let's call them minions. All right. I don't really like the term robots. Let's call them these 9 little servant minions that you have. They'll do whatever it is that you say, and you can change it and you can do like whatever it is. Okay. And they're here to help you go and build and create this awesome, amazing thing. All right. Now, inside of this building, since it's huge, these are the only 9 people. All right. Now, or it's you, not these 9 minions and you, right? Now, other people can come in and can leave, right? But there's no more staff. There's no more people to help you maintain it or upgrade it, right? You're building it. You're going in there, and you can bring somebody in to like teach you something, right? Teach you or help teach the minions something, but they're not going to stay. They're going to leave, okay? And obviously in a building, you have doors and, like windows and different things like that, okay? Now, this building is going to represent your mind, all right? And you, inside of this building, are going to represent your conscious mind. And the 9 little servant minions that you have are going to represent your subconscious mind, all right? Now, why 9? All right, well, according to scientific studies, roughly 80 to 90% of your mind is subconscious by the age of roughly 30. All right. There's variations depending on who you ask, but let's be conservative here. So 90% of your life, all of your actions, your thoughts, your beliefs, where you do, what you say, what you believe, what you think, what you buy, everything, the way you talk, the way you walk, all of it is controlled by your subconscious mind. 90% of it is, okay? 10% is controlled by your conscious mind. So inside this big, massive building that is your mind, all right, you've got you, which is steering the ship, right? And you're going through life and you've got this building and stuff is going on outside and you're in here. And then these 9 other people that are in there, your servant minions, you program them to do exactly what you want them to do. And then they go and do their thing. And you're over here doing your thing, okay? This is how your mind works. You've got this big building. It's limitless possibilities in here, all right? You can do whatever it is that you want. Now you've got to figure out how you're going to operate it. But it's a big building. A lot can come into this mind, right? A lot can go in. And so in the morning, you open up your doors and people start coming into the building, right? Because people want your attention in life, right? And so people are coming in and maybe it's your family over here on this side of things. And as they come in, what are they bringing with them? They're bringing in their problems. They're bringing in dirt, right? They're bringing in some supplies with them maybe because they want you to start thinking a certain way. So they're going to kind of try to come over here and they're going to try to pull on things and try to, like make you think a certain way over here. And then you've got clients over on this side of things and they're coming in. And then you've got the media and they're coming in and trying to feed you information. And then you've got social media and they're coming in and trying to feed you information. And then you've got, the outside world and you've got everybody that you're interacting with. And any input that's going into your brain right now, think of those as people that are coming into your mind every morning. All right. And so when you wake up, doors open. When you go to sleep, everybody leaves, doors shut, right? Mind racing, doors shut. And then you wake up and it all happens all over again. Okay? Now, if you let people into your building that don't have your best interest in mind, or if you just let any random stranger into that building of yours, it's a huge building. You can't possibly, even if every single person came through one door and you were able to consciously do that, like make a note of every single person that came in through your door, guess what? You still wouldn't be able to keep track of them. But guess what? There's not one door. There's 10 doors. And not only are you manning the door, but your subconscious mind is also manning 9 other doors. And you've programmed to say, don't let these type of people in or do let these type of people in. But remember, it's only doing what you've programmed them to do. So all the people that it doesn't know what to do with, it's just going to let in, right? And so now your building starts to get overrun by all these other people. And so this started as your building and you have it designed exactly how you want, right? And everything is perfect. But then you get all these media inputs and then you're sitting down and you're having meetings with the media, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, well, that media person, they're saying that this could happen. Oh my God. And then you have these people on social media over here saying, oh my gosh, I could make my building 10 times better if I just follow this 3-step formula. Oh my gosh, I need that in my building. And then you got this person over here, you got this person over here. And so you have all these inputs coming in and it's chaos and it's noise and it's every single day. And it's like, oh my gosh, we just got to get through it. Got to get through the day. And you're just letting it happen. And then you go to sleep at night and you're like, oh, okay, Okay, doors are shut. And that's when you fall asleep. But you know at 8 a.m., when you wake up the next morning, poof, doors come open. And you're on your phone and social media and whatever. And all the inputs start coming back into your mind again, over and over and over and over and over again. How on earth are you supposed to make decisions if that was how you were to live your life? You've got a building. Like, picture yourself doing this. That's what you're doing to your brain right now. When there's inputs coming in, if you don't control those inputs, they're going to leave their crap on you. They're going to leave all their crap and ideas in your building. And unless you go and clean it out, guess what? The minions, guess what? The minions can be persuaded too, because other people in their minds, they also have 9 little minions over there, right? And the media is really good at convincing people of things. And so maybe the media convinced you to reprogram your subconscious mind over here without you even realizing it, because it was a test to, oh, this minion, we're going to turn it, and they're going to be fearful of things. And so now everything that minion, servant minion that you have that touches, it's operating from a place of fear. And so when it's painting or when it's setting up a shop, it's, oh my gosh, what if this falls apart? Or, oh my gosh, and now 10% of your mind is messed up. It's infected with fear. And then maybe another one's worry. Another one is, I'm not good enough. Another one is this. And so even after everybody clears out, even when you're alone, even at the end of the day when you're like, stop, all right, I'm turning off my phone, I'm shutting the things, I'm laying in bed. Guess what? Your minions are running around and they're trying to clean up everything, but they're operating out of fear. And you're like, I don't know what's going on and I'm not sure. And you're looking at 72 different ideas that all these media people have gone and left in your face. And all these advertisements that you've seen, the thousands and thousands of advertisements that you see are now up on your wall, and you're staring at them and you're like, oh man, I don't know if should I do that one over here? And it's chaos. That's how most people operate. That's how most people's brains operate. And every single time that you have social media in front of your face, those doors are open and people's ideas are coming in. People are coming in and it's ruining your building. Okay? So how do you reverse that? Well, guess what? I start hiring this mindset coach and I start studying mindset and I start diving down this thing and I go, Katie, I don't know why this is, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, well, Josh, why do you think that, right? Like, why do you think you're not worthy of that? Why do you think you're not this? You have literally limitless resources at your disposal, right? It's a huge building. You have an unlimited budget. You can literally go figure out whatever you want. If you want to build a whole entire room that builds airplanes, it might take you a little bit of time, but you can figure out how to do that. And you've got all the resources there. It's limitless. You just go build it. She's like, why are you thinking that way? And I'm like, well, because of blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, why don't we just scrape back some of that? See that that massive wall that you built over there? What's behind that wall? And I'm like, I don't know. And I go over there and I walk over in my building and I'm trying to give you a visual analogy here. I walk over and I look behind the wall and it's just trash and dirt and all this old, ways of thinking that the media programmed me to think that I've just thrown out. And that's preventing me from being able to see that, oh, behind all that, there's a door to all the information that I need in order to get whatever it is that I'm trying to do. But because all that crap is there and I haven't taken the time to clean that out, I didn't even know there was a door there. I didn't even know there was an entirely new way of looking at things. And so I'm trying to solve business problems from a non-business room. Think of this building, pretend it has like many different rooms, and this office or this room is for business stuff, and this room is for, for relationship stuff, and this business room is for this type of stuff. Well, if you're trying to solve business problems from your relationship room because you don't know that you have a business room, and the reason that you don't know you have a business room that you could walk into is because the media convinced you that you weren't worthy of that, and so they boarded it all up, and you believed them. You wouldn't know that unless somebody else came in and helped you scrape all that crap out and realize that you could tap into that potential, that you could literally just walk into that room. Okay? That is how your mind works. And when you do not control the inputs, it's very, very difficult for you to control the outputs because you don't actually know what is truth. You don't actually know what reality is. And you can choose to do whatever it is that you want to do. But if you don't know that you have the power to choose, if you don't know that you have the know-how to get things done, then how did you know that? Now you might be like, well, Josh, but what about I don't have the skills to build blank, or I don't have the skills to do whatever. Well, guess what? Inside this building, you have a phone. And you know what you can do inside that phone, or with that phone? You can pick up the phone and you can say, hey, I'm going to order some wisdom. I'm going to order some books. I'm going to order a mentor. I'm going to order whatever to come on over here and help me figure this out. And instead of the media showing up at your door now, you have them showing up at your door. Now, you could also have, the media too. Just because you order one thing doesn't mean you're blocking out other things. Okay? So just because you have good coming in doesn't mean you also don't have bad coming in. We got to get rid of the bad too. Okay? So people don't realize this. And so what I've done, especially over the past couple weeks, is I realized, whoa, I have a lot of bad inputs. My doors are open to anybody. I'm replying to all my messages. I'm reading all my messages. Now, don't get me wrong. I love replying to some of your guys' messages, but I'm talking about, I get messages from so many random people about, people message me and they're like, hey, Josh, do you have any tips and pointers of trying to, of how I would go about and name my podcast? Do you think it's this name or this name is best or this name is best? I've been stuck on this for 3 months. I'm just like, pick. It doesn't matter. All right. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, you just got to go take action. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. I'm getting all these inputs from Fox News and CNN and Donald Trump and Russell Brunson and some of these are good, right? I love Russell Brunson, but I'm getting massive amounts of inputs from hundreds of different people or thousands of different people. And my brain is like, And then I've got my family problems and I've got and benefits. I'm not just bad on my family. I love my family, right? I've got my family problems though. And I've got my relationship problems and I've got my personal life problems and I got my business problems and I got my friend problems and I've got all these different things and they're all flooding in. And I never take the time just to shut it. Well, Josh, why don't we shut it? Oh, that's right. Because it's an addiction. Because guess what? Whenever we open those doors and we let people come in, we get a hit. And our numbers of attendance go up. And we look around at everybody else's building and we stand at the top and we go, hey, you over there. How many people you have in your building today? Oh man, we had 10,000 people come through our building. Oh man, I only had 7,000 people. Tell your subconscious mind, open up more doors. We need more people in. Why? Because you're getting validation from the wrong thing. That's not even why your building is designed. But all of a sudden the media has come in and the first time you ever logged into Facebook, you didn't spend 3 hours on there. But then all of a sudden you saw your friend on Facebook and they had 100 friends and you had 50. And then they had 1,000 followers and you had 500. And then somebody else had 100,000 followers and you only had 10,000 followers. Somebody else was making this amount of money and you were only making this amount of money. And you start comparing yourself. And the media and social media comes into this building and goes, did you see what so-and-so did? Did you see what so-and-so did? Did you see? And you're like, oh my gosh, I got to do that too. And you start to neglect this building, this mind of yours. When you don't realize that if you were to clean everything out, you could literally do whatever you wanted. You could have this place of complete stillness and peace. But you don't. Why? Because you're convinced by all of your inputs that you need more inputs and you need more inputs and you need more inputs. You need more people. You need more people. You need more distraction. And it's framed in a way that says, the more people you have, the more successful you will be. This is what matters in life, but it doesn't. And so what my coach has done and what I have done is I have been so viciously diligent about cutting things out of my life. I have been so viciously diligent about making sure I'm only putting in inputs into my mind that are going to benefit me. I've been so viciously diligent, and I don't know if viciously is the right word, but intensely diligent to make sure that the podcasts that I'm listening to are podcasts about faith or about business or are coming from people that have the morals. Why do I like Russell Brunson so much? Because the guy's a man of faith and of character, and I value that. That's the type of information, right? Listen, I love Gary Vee and I listen to him for certain things, but I wanted to stop cussing in my life and I was feeding myself cussing all the time. I had to stop listening to Gary Vee as much. I can listen to him for some things, but I got to control the output of that, right? And in every area, not just in business and in life. And it's so crazy because all of a sudden you start to realize that, oh my word, like 90% of my time, 90% of what was happening in my life, I didn't realize it was happening because the minions in the back, they also can be programmed by stuff that's coming in. The people that you let in, if you let 1,000 people into your building, you can't talk to all 1,000 of them. So what are they naturally going to do? They're going to go talk to your minions. And if they know how to program your minion, or if that minion is receiving information of like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then they look at you and you go, yeah, that sounds great. Even if you don't realize that you're telling them that's great, your minions are going to start being programmed that way. And then all of a sudden, fast forward a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, and here you are with a life that you don't want. You're unhappy. You don't have the business you want. You've jumped around from thing to thing to thing. You can't think clearly. You can't make decisions. You've got no money in the bank, or you're in a situation that you are like, how did I get here? Why do I have a problem with these things? Why do I struggle with this? Because you didn't control your mind. See, your life, guys, and this is incredibly important to understand. And I wish I had a kind of a story to go through, and I'll give an analogy. But your life is a sum of your actions. Okay, where you're at in life right now is a sum of your actions. It's not controlled by anybody else. Yes, obviously there's exceptions to this rule, right? We can't always control, like my brother passing away in a helicopter crash, right? I didn't control that, but I did control my actions and how I responded to that. And so where I'm at in life right now, and the reason I'm here and not a raging alcoholic because my brother died, was because of the actions that I chose to take. And so if you were to go right now, you'd be like, Josh, my actions don't control my life. My grand sum of my actions does not equal where I'm at. I would say, really? Well, you have a choice right now. You can either do what you're doing right now, or I can buy you a one-way plane ticket to Brazil. You have a choice. Take an action. Either A, act and do what you're doing now, or B, go get on that plane to Brazil and take that action. Well, of course I'm not going to get on Brazil. Exactly. You're not going to choose that action. You're going to choose this action, which results with you being here and not in Brazil. If you were to hop on a plane to Brazil and you were to travel around the world for the next 5 years, would your life look radically, completely different than if you stayed right where you're at? Of course it would. Why? Because your actions would be different if they stayed here than if you traveled around the world. Okay? So your actions control your life. Your actions control your reality. If you're broke right now, it is because you have taken actions in your life to lead you there. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that all of those actions were your fault. Maybe you got put into debt by things that were out of your control, but the way you react to it is going to determine whether or not you stay in debt or come out of it. Whether you read books, or currently I'm reading the new .com Secrets book here, right? I can choose to read that book, or I can choose to play video games. That action will ultimately determine the result of my life. All right? Well, guess what controls your actions? Your mindset controls your actions. Okay? Or really your decisions, and your mindset controls your decisions. Mindset controls decisions. Decisions control actions. Actions control your life. Okay? So you can say, I don't know how to, it's not a mindset problem. I just don't know how to sell my product. No, it is a mindset problem, because your mindset is controlling your decisions. Your decisions are controlling your actions. Your actions is controlling this. So the actions that you're currently taking are being made because of the decisions that you're making. The reason that you're making the decisions that you're making is because your mind is telling you that this is the only way to go and sell your product, and that you don't know how because of that. Well, what's your mind controlled by? Your mind is controlled by your inputs. Your mind is controlled by your beliefs, and your beliefs are controlled by your inputs, right? What you're putting into your mind. So go back to the building example. If it's just you and your building and your 9 minions and nobody else is allowed in, you're going to have a lot of clarity. You're going to be able to program those people exactly how you want it. But every single day we have to open the doors, right? I mean, maybe not every single day. I'm sure there's days where you could go and not read any books, and not, like, you could literally just sit and meditate. And if you just sat and meditate, there's no additional inputs except the stuff that's in your own mind, in your own building. But if you pick up a book, good or bad, that's an input. Turn on social media, good or bad, that's an input. You talk to your parents, your business partner, your customers, your mentor, good or bad, those are inputs. You got to control what goes in. And so now the inputs that you have, you look at them and you go, based on these inputs here, based on the information that I have in front of me now, I will make these decisions. Based on these decisions, I will do these actions. Based on these actions, I will have this result in life, right? So you've got to control that. When I realized this, that's when I'm like, done. Poof. Got to get off social media. Cut it out. Why? I got to start reading again. Why? Because I don't have time for these things. I don't have time because I'm on social media. If I cut social media out, not only am I going to free up a tremendous amount of my time to actually be able to go and do other good things, but I'm also getting rid of the bad inputs. It is not enough to only add good inputs. You also, and I'm just holding up this .com Secrets book because this is an example of a book that I'm reading right now, but in order to, it's not good enough just to get rid of bad inputs. You also, just to add good inputs, you also have to get rid of bad inputs. Okay? Your mind is a limitless potential machine. You can literally do whatever you want with it. You have an unlimited budget in your mind. Okay? Building. The inputs that you allow in determine the outputs you will get. So back to my coach. Back why this is so important. When I look at a problem now, it's so funny. My questions have changed to my coach. When I first started with my coach, I would ask questions like this. I would say, I have this problem. How do I fix it? Or I have this problem. What should I do? Should I do this or should I do this? And I would give myself this binary option of this one or this one. Which one is right and which one is wrong? That's what I would ask them, questions. And that's the wrong way to approach problems. It's not how you do it. Why? Because you're assuming that those are your only two options, number one. And two, you are looking at those options, no matter who you are looking at those options from the lens of what you know in your head right now. And if you had different inputs, if you had different information that you have access to, that you could go and get, you would make a different decision. So instead, what do I ask my coach? And I ask her this all the time. In fact, I voxed her a 10-minute vox the other day. And I was like, I got to tell you a story, and then I have a question for you at the end of it. And so I go through this entire process and how I came to this conclusion, and I was like, so here's the issue that I'm facing right now. What questions do I need to be asking myself to make sure I have the correct information to make a powerful decision? That was the question I asked her. Not, what should I do? It was, what questions do I need to be asking to get the correct information? Why? Because I know that right now how I'm approaching this problem is based on the information that I have in my building right now. But I also know, because I've practiced, that I have the ability in my building to call in backup, to get the information that I need, to ask better questions, to instantly access this stuff. And if I don't have access to it, I can go learn it. And then I can go to my minions and I can say, oh, minion number 8, oh, you're operating out of fear. We need to change that. Tweak, tweak, tweak. Go on your way. Analyze. Oh, that one didn't work. Come back. Let's fix you again. Got to rewire you, reprogram you, rewire you, reprogram you. On your way. All right, now, and that takes practice. That's training your subconscious mind. But when your subconscious mind, think about this, guys. When you're on social media and you're consuming the information on social media, your brain retains 100% of it. You remember 10. Isn't that crazy? Your brain retains 100% of the information, or close to. Your unconscious mind has a perfect memory of everything that happened from the time you were born. I mean, unless you have brain problems or whatnot, but most people don't, okay? But you can't remember it. You can't access it. It has a perfect memory, but you can't access it. Why? Because your conscious mind doesn't remember it. You got to learn. It's a learned skill. Now, even the most trained people can't remember everything 100%, but it's there. So if your brain is remembering it and your subconscious mind is acting accordingly from it, is acting out of stress and fear that your parents instilled in you, or stress and fear that your friends instilled in you, or because you thought a pastor was a terrible thing, you have a terrible view of Christianity, or whatever, you're operating that way. You don't even realize you're operating that way. Why? Because you didn't realize that your little minions back there were affected. You got to be checking in. You got to go back to your minions and go, hey, are you okay? I realize you've talked to 10 million people in the past year. Are you guys good? Do we need to change anything? Man, we really got to change. Because they're steering 90% of the ship. They're controlling 90% of what comes in and out of that building. Now, you can change them, but they're the ones that are ultimately going and making it happen. That's the power of the mind. So when you say, oh my gosh, there's no money. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to sell my product. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do here. It's because you're operating from a place of not power. You're operating from a place of inputs from other people. The more inputs you get from other people that are bad, the less power you have. Everything that you do has to come from a place of power, because if it comes from a place of weakness, if it comes from a place of need, that means you're getting those inputs from negativity from other people. You have everything that you need inside. Think of this. Your brain is this building. I'm going to repeat this one more time. It has unlimited resources. Unlimited resources. It can process and understand anything. Okay? You might have to teach it, but it can do it. So if I were to sit down and look at a situation and go, I can't sell this, and Russell Brunson comes and I know that Russell Brunson could sell that, then the answer is not, I can't sell this. Nope. The answer is, I don't know how to sell this. I need to change the inputs, because somewhere along the line, Russell Brunson got the inputs that are needed to be able to go and sell this item. I'm going to go and figure out what those same inputs are that I need to be able to figure out this, because I know it's possible. It's not a question of whether or not it's possible or not. Making $1 million can be done by you. It is 100% possible. People that are way worse off than you, way better off than you, same exact position from you, all of them, every type of person in the world has made $1 million. Question is, are you going to go and do that? They figured out how to do it. You've got to control your inputs in. But when you look at the media and you look at everybody else, you're not going to be able to go and do that. And that's how your mind works. That is why mindset is so important. All right. And so what taking a detox and a cleanse and time away from social media and the media does is it says, hey, minions back there, close off all the doors. Only this door right here that I control, that's the only one that's open for business for however long, right? And then you open that door and you go, nope, no media today, slam. Family, you can come into my life. Let's talk. Make sure our relationship's good. All right, great. Have a great day. Oh, man, I need to figure out how to sell. Go, ring, ring. Hey, yo, YouTube, send me some videos on how to sell things, whatever, right? And open the door, and there it is, a person with a video. Here you go. Boom. You got unlimited supply. Or the minion's going to go into your subconscious mind and go, hey, minion, remember when we learned back in 7th grade when we had that thing happen? Bring me that story out. A great analogy of this. Actually, I should have used this. Have you ever seen the movie Inside Out? I just watched this the other night, actually. I should do an episode on this. That's what I should have used. Anyway, Inside Out, perfect example of this. If you've ever seen that movie, it's a Pixar movie from Disney. And Riley is this little girl, and you're inside her mind the whole time. And there's these little characters in there, and one's happiness and sadness and disgust and anger and joy. And then they are in this like little ship, and they look out when they look out the ship, down below them is long-term memories. And every single memory that Riley, the main character, has, it gets put in a little ball and gets stored away. And so whenever they want one, they just request them, they bring it up, they plug in that memory, and that's what is the memories that go through Riley's mind in the dream. Same thing. That's exactly how your brain works, right? Just like that. Being programmed. So get rid of the bad inputs. Control what comes into your mind. Why do I put out Think Different Theory? I put out Think Different Theory for 2 reasons. Well, really for 3 reasons, but the core reason that I put out Think Different Theory is because it allows me to learn, and I love learning, and I am putting out what I'm learning with you guys to share with you guys so that you can learn as well. All right? It is my documentation through life. I love learning. I love teaching. Think Different Theory allows me to do both. This podcast, this show. I interview really cool people. You guys find it interesting. You listen to it. You love it. Everybody wins. The second reason I do is so that you guys have mindset food, so that you can go and say, I don't know what to turn on. Think Different Theory is something that I can turn on. I know that whenever I listen to Think Different Theory, it is going to better my life. We're not cussing and swearing on here. At least I'm not. And we have guests that do, but we try to give warnings for those so that if you're offended by that. But we interview smart, successful people. We give different perspective, different types of inputs. You never have to worry about if you turn on Think Different Theory if we're going to fry your brain or not. We're not. We're going to this show will make your brain better. Now, you have to control. I mean, if anything can become an attraction. But the reason I put out the type of content that I do on Think Different Theory is because I want to benefit you guys, not because I'm trying to go for views. We could get a whole lot more views if we use different terminology, if we interview different types of people, if I cussed more, if we used sexy language, yada, yada, all that stuff. But we don't. Why? Because I never want someone to be like, Think Different Theory really didn't better my life. Nope. Because I want you guys to be putting positive inputs into your brain. I listen to my own podcast. Why? Not because I'm obsessed with myself, but because I love learning from the people that I interview. And when I'm interviewing them, I'm learning a lot, but I want to go back and listen to those things. I'm controlling the inputs that go into my brain. And because I control the inputs that go into my brain, I control the people that come into my building. Therefore, I can control the outputs that go out. I can design anything I want. I can do whatever I want because I control what comes in. That's the power of mindset. That's why mindset is important. All right? All right, guys, that's all I've got for you here today. If you found value in this episode, please let me know. Feel free to send us an email, contact@thinkdifferenttheory.com. Send me a Instagram message. I am periodically checking those still, and I will get back to everybody's messages when I'm back on social media. JOSHFORTI, just my name, Josh Forti on Instagram. Leave a rating and review on the podcast. DM or leave comments on Facebook, wherever it is. Let me know if you like this or not, because I really hope this was beneficial and helpful, because it is such a superpower. It's so nuts. I'm happier than I've ever been. I am more fulfilled than I've ever been. I am stable and less stressed. And whenever I find myself stressed, I'm like, beep, mute button for the brain. I'm back in a place of happiness. I'm back in a place of bliss. I'm back in a place of being able to serve. Do things get stressful? Yep. Do things Do I freak out sometimes? Yep. Do I have bad days? Yep. But I always come back to, it's all going to be okay. Why? Because I know I'm controlling my mind, baby. I don't need to worry about anything else, right? I'm controlling what comes into my mind, right? And inside me, where do I get my confidence from? I'm a Christian. I get my confidence from God. I got no worries at all. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of life. I'm not afraid of the unknown. Why? Because I control what goes into my mind, and what comes into my mind first and foremost is my relationship with God. And I go, God, I know you got this. And I know you're going to help me figure it out. So when I'm having a relationship problems with Leah, I go to her and I'm like, hey, baby, I love you. Let's figure this out. Let's talk through it. Blah, blah, blah. Why? I come from a place of power, right? Not from a place of need, not from a place of freak out. I'm not listening to what the media tells me about my relationship. I'm not listening to what social media tells me what I need to be doing. I'm like, what works for me? What works for us? How do I make my life better? How do I make the lives of the better people around me that I care about? Start there and then build and expand. It's really important to do things in order. And that all starts with controlling your mind. All right? All right, guys, like I said, that's all I got for you. As always, hustle, hustle. God bless. Do not be afraid to think different, because those of us that think different are going to be the ones that change the world. I love you all, and I will see you on the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating and review. It's what helps us grow. Take it easy, fam. Peace.